Welcome to the Blessed to Teach show here on Thursday, November 1st. This is Rick, and we're going to be talking about Qyou being back. Yes, we got a couple of drops from Qyou after 22 days of silence. Here on November 1st, he drops tonight. And we're going to be talking about an update on the Caravan, the election, as well as a ton of news, prophecy, and prayer as usual. Eric and Terry's on. I see you guys from California. Joe. We got Atlanta, Georgia, Jerry. Thank you guys for coming on board here. We got Tulsa in UK, Kentucky. Thank you guys. Oregon. And yeah, welcome back. Qyou says it's, you're right, Alberta, South Dakota. Thank you guys. Idaho, Arkansas, Morrison. Thank you guys. College Station, Texas. So we're going to be talking today about Qyou is back. Yes. Yeah. And a Caravan and election update, tons of notes, as well as a prophecy that's a fulfillment of the prophecy that literally came out today. We'll talk about it in a second. One of Mark Taylor's prophecies fulfilled, and we'll go over that specific prophecy that was fulfilled. So let's dig into this right now. First of all, let's start with just some awesome things about President Trump. So we're going to get to these two posts here in a second. Just in case Qyou posts again, I'm going to wait just a bit before I go over these two brand new posts. Again, after October 9th, all the way to November 1st before we hear from Qyou. I'm very surprised. I was expecting it to be afterwards, right after the elections. But here we go. Watch this. All these cars are sitting here in line for one of Trump's rallies. Traffic on SB 63, 3 hours ahead of President Trump's rally at the Columbia airport. It just goes on and on and on. And I thought it was funny. This person replies down here and says, I would say we can count on these people to vote. Just waiting for hours and hours, 3 hours before he's speaking. And there's huge lines still to get in here. So bottom line, guys, is that something special's happening here. You just can't deny it. And so look at this here. If I'm going to go to the next video here, hospital staff says thank you. So if you look at this one, I'm going to pause this one. It's almost over. But if you look at this one here, here's some people that are behind the security line. But Trump and Melania is going to be coming down here, and even Ivanka. And Trump's going to be walking out here, but they stop him just by saying thank you, Mr. Trump. Listen to this.
Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you,
He stops, comes back.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you all very much. No, thank you, sir. Great job.
Thank you, Mr. President. We love you. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Can I shake your hand, sir?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Is that not cool?
Thank you.
Thank you, President
This
Trump.
is a man of the people. We the people.
Thank you, That's a great gesture.
Thank you, First Lady. Thank you, First
Lady.
Thank you.
I don't want to. This guy just got up. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Operating room, right? A couple hours ago. See, when Trump shakes your hand, there's no problem. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, darling. Good job.
Thank you.
I love you, Ivanka.
Isn't that cute?
Nobody ever heard of
And he comes back. And so there's Ivanka right there and Trump. But guys, there's something special going on here. Do you see? He's a man of the people. We have got to be proud of this. It's amazing. Thank you, Alpha Lobster. I'm just telling you. It is, that's what I'm just saying. You're right. I'm just so proud of this president. And that's why I'm proud of my sponsors, too. The Trump Coins Back sponsoring my show. And they just saw you guys respond. And they just, and people are wanting this for Christmas. And so there's like a 3-week shipping time. So if you're going to get it for Christmas, you want to do it now. But this coin is just so cool and just exhibits the pride. And for Christmas with the shiny things, etc. One other thing to know is that this literally can be an investment, and the IRS actually can recognize things that because it's 9.99% fine silver, right? So again, they started printing in July. They've sold thousands of them. I think a great Christmas present for a limited edition here. The front side that says 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. The back of it is really cool. My favorite part, delivering as promised. It's got these 4 huge things on here that says first major tax reform in 30 years, unemployment rate lowest in 18 years, jobless claims lowest since 1973, and the Dow Jones highest in history. And to say you have these coins or, before the arrest, I think it's just a pretty cool thing. But again, if you're going to get these before Christmas, you need to order them pretty quickly here, because it takes quite a bit of time for the shipping. And it's again, you can come down here to the bottom. Now here, this is a $35 coin. The gold one is $1,895. So obviously I got the silver one. So you add this to your cart. If you buy 3 of them, you can get free shipping if you put blessed. So make sure you put blessed in the coupon code. So the coupon code won't work unless you order 3 of them or more, right? And then it knocks off that $6 or more, depending on where they're shipping it to, right? Again, a $35 dollar per coin, but you can actually knock off all your shipping costs with the coupon code of blessed. Right, so let's dig into some of the Qyou things here, and I'll get back to Trump. I am so amazingly proud. It is so awesome to just see what's happening here. And I think another surprise is coming on Tuesday if we all get out there and act, right? And also pray. And those of you who also want to join me in the fasting, I think that's important too, just because it reminds me to pray more, right? And I just get closer to God when I'm hungry. And it's just one of those things. And again, I've told you I'm a wimpy faster, but just doing that 2 or 3 times a week or so, and just skipping 1 or 2 meals, and just making sure I'm praising him during those times is amazing. I don't do that all the time, but I mean this is an important time for me the last 2 or 3 weeks. So if you guys want to join me in that, there's all kinds of different fasts. Some people just do it from sundown to sunrise. There's all kinds of different ways. And even if you have glycemia, maybe you could just fast something else out of your life, right? No Diet Coke or whatever. I don't know. Here's 2382. So our first one in 22 days. Here it is. It says, "Do not let them divide you. Together you are strong. Together you win. Your vote matters." Reread drops regarding polls. And what's interesting, this is how popular Trump is. It's been completely overloaded. And so I've been trying to load these 2 sites. Oh, one of them came up. Hooray. This one's still down. The OSC government's one. Can't believe one of them came up. It's a little bit messed up. But this is the site that's just, these 2 sites he linked to are just completely overwhelmed. So I'm not going to click on anything here. But this says, United States Office of Government Ethics, preventing conflicts of interest in the executive branch. Topics, financial conflicts of interest. It's interesting this came up. So if you go to Twitter, nobody can get to these sites. So I've been trying to update this for quite some time. It's talking about the Hatch Act. So a standard of ethics for conduct of employees of executive branch. I'm not sure if it says anything about voting. I'm just going to Control F and top vote. And even on this page, there's nothing even about voting. So I'm going to just put poll, something about poll. So I can't find anything. So I'm not sure exactly what he's getting here. What I think he's getting at, drop regarding polls, is just how off the polls were in 2016. And I think the same thing's happened in 2018. Right now, it's showing the Democrats are going to win 5 House seats and overtake and take them control of it, where Nancy Pelosi would actually be the Speaker of the House. Nightmare! But that is not going to happen, especially if we get out and act. And so this is the time to give Trump the power to take out the deep state. So please get out there, and let's pray against any of these other things that are happening here. Now again, what we have here is I'm sure it's going to be digging into just the silent Trump voter. They don't reply to polls, right? I mean, it's not popular in the black community, for instance, to say you're a Trump supporter, even though 40% of them say they support him. But when there's polls coming that are coming when it comes to who you're going to vote for, I think that they're not going to do it. I think a lot of any American, no matter what color, race, creed, or whatever you are, it's polarizing to say you're a Trump supporter now, because people are crazy out there because the mainstream media has controlled their minds and make it seem like he thinks he's not. So this is a beautiful time. This is 2382. Here's the biggest thing out of this drop. Your vote matters. I think they've cleaned up a lot of the voter fraud here. They're enforcing it. You saw yesterday, I showed you how somebody that produced 1,000 fake IDs was arrested and put in jail for 8 years, I believe. So we have the right government with law and order coming in, and it's going to be a lot harder for all the illegal voting to go on. So your vote matters now. Get out and exercise it. And there's a lot of people. I saw a stat that showed 45% support of Trump for those who voted for Hillary in 2016. So I really think that there's a hidden tsunami coming. But again, pray, fast, and vote with me. Here's 2383. He reposted the July 29th article. And here it was we're talking about this Real Clear Politics article about NBC, Ali Verselli, Apple and Google profiting from apps promoting, and I think that's promoting QAnon. I think is what they're talking about here, which you'll see in a second. But here's what he wants us to get across to us. Looking back at the 29th drop, it says, which was 1751, says they do not want you asking questions. They do not want you thinking for yourself. They do not want you united. They want you to live in fear and divided. They want you asleep. They want you blind. The message must bypass the MSM. It's the only way. People united hold the power. Think election 2016. Power shall be reunited to the people. Qyou. Whew. Now, awesome. And then he had reposted that and amplified on it, saying every CIA Moss tactic of infiltration and internal disruption is being deployed on this board, Central Hub. The world is here. Recognize. This moment is bigger than anyone can possibly imagine. Peace through strength. Qyou. Now remember, guys, that I think a big example of this is the fact that we can't even get to the 2 sites that he's posting to. You can't even move around them. Like this one is still, after about a half hour, still trying to get to this OSC government site. It's completely overwhelmed. It overwhelmed this site too. If I move around or try to link on anything, I'm sure it's going to do something. Pillow activities, it's a double, obviously didn't render like it's supposed to, so it's really hard to see what's on here. But anyway, that's just a testament to the volume of people that are following Qyou. There's a lot of silent Qyou followers, and a lot of them are the enemy, obviously. The deep state herself are all here. The world is here. It's not just the United States. Everybody knows this is a turning point for good versus evil and taking out the criminals worldwide. It's going to be an exciting moment. And then, obviously, Qyou gives us some new information about that post. He says, we have to bypass the media in order to get straight to the people. Those are quotes. They're quotes from POTUS. We've gone around them like no one in history has gone around them. That's POTUS at tonight's rally. Think MSM attacks on Qyou. We the people. So we know that when the MSM attacks, they're attacking something they're scared of. And so they attack almost every, they've been attacking obviously Trump for forever, right? Anything he says they attack. That's because they're scared to death of him. And that's why they're attacking QAnon, because they know there's truth being told on this board and they're scared to death of it. How exciting. So I'll come back and remind me. I'll try to refresh her to see if we get another post from Qyou while we're going on here. I'll check my phone too on my little Qyou app. But it looks like that he might be done for the night. So let's get into the rest of this. Here is some other cool things about Trump. Here is him comment on the Caravan. Let's listen to this.
We will consider that the maximum that we can consider that, because they're throwing rocks viciously and violently. You saw that 3 days ago, really hurting the military. We're not going to put up with that. They want to throw rocks at our military fights back. We're going to consider it. I told them, consider it a rifle. When they throw rocks like they did at the Mexico military and police, I say, consider it a rifle. Jeff?
He is not messing around. That's Trump not messing around, for sure. Here's another one where he's talking to the media. This is a 44-second one. Looks like the same
Large, well-organized caravans of migrants are marching toward our southern border. Some people call it an invasion. It's like an invasion. They have violently overrun the Mexican border. You saw that 2 days ago. These are tough people in many cases. A lot of young men, strong men, and a lot of men that maybe we don't want in our country. But again, we'll find that out through the legal process. But they've overrun the Mexican police, and they've overrun and hurt badly Mexican soldiers. So this isn't an innocent group of people. There's a large number of people that are tough.
You can see Trump is taking this incredibly seriously, and there's something else going on. When you have 15,000 troops and all those tanks I showed you going in there and all those military equipment coming down south, and they're putting up those big tent cities. I showed you pictures of those yesterday as well. It's something crazy's going on there. And so it'll be real interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously, the deep state and the cabal have a big plan to try to do something big to make Trump look bad. But everything they've done just rolls off him like a duck or backfires completely on him. So I look so forward to seeing how God orchestrates this to just be a disaster for them. Breaking, President Trump announces end to catch and release, says military will fight back if illegal aliens throw rocks. So this is basically the article on some of the videos I just showed you right there. But just the fact that he is rolling back the catch and release, and also you saw that as far as babies born in, that they'll bring a pregnant woman over, she has her baby in the next couple of days, and boom, all of a sudden that baby is a citizen. And they even caught Harry Reid yesterday. I showed you saying no country does that, and it'd be insane for any country to allow that to happen. So obviously the enemies of the country are the ones that are supporting those type of policies. Here is, again, on vote.co, voat.co, you'll see United States Secretary of Defense James Mattis. I keep other people awake at night. So you've probably heard this before, but this is kind of this interesting good timing on this confrontation coming. Here is General Mattis.
What keeps you awake at night? Nothing. I keep other people awake at night.
Pretty succinct there. he didn't hesitate on that either. What keeps you up at night? Nothing. I keep other people awake at night. Pretty cool. Here's a list of military units headed to the border. And it's just huge if you start looking at this. Fort Bragg, look at this. North Carolina, Fort Carson, Colorado, Peterson Air Force, Colorado, Fort Meade, Maryland, Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfields, Georgia. This is a 3rd Combat Aviation Brigade and the 90th Human Resource Company. You can see when I'm reading these, there's multiple ones per area. A Joint Base San Antonio, Fort Sam Houston, Texas, and there's 3 units there. Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington, the 5th Mobile Public Affairs Detachment, the 87th Engineer Snapper Company. So this goes on and on. Joint Base Charleston, South Carolina, Fort Bliss, Texas, Fort Hood, Texas is the 89th Military, the headquarters of the 62nd Engineer Battalion, the 937th Engineer Snapper Company, the 104th Engineer Construction, the 289th Quartermaster Company, the 553rd, the second, you can just, this goes on and on and on. The Fort Knox of Kentucky, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I'm not reading all the bullet points here. Fort Riley, Kansas. So I think there's literally nearly 60 or so different units being deployed down south. This is a serious military deployment of something, and so some people are speculating, are these going to be just where they're going to be housed for the people that don't go to Gitmo? They're going to be coming into these tents. Maybe that's some of it that's going to be happening after they take care of the border problem. And another thing that Trump did today, November 1st, here we are, executive order blocking property of additional persons contributing to the situation in Venezuela. So very broad. So just like anybody that has anything to do with human rights abuses on the executive order on December 21st, 2017, now this adds to it anybody that has anything really to do with the situation in Venezuela. So that is just being aggressive against these criminal elements that are everywhere, right? And the socialists that are trying to basically destroy the Americas now, just like he's successfully doing in large parts of Europe. Breaking. Croatia will not sign the UN Migration Pact and joins the U.S., Hungary, and Australia. So this UN Migration Pact is starting to fall apart. It's a good news, I believe. Croatian President Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović will not sign the UN Global Compact for Migration to GCM, Croatian news portal Dictionary. And this goes on and on about just the whole issue that UN and the whole globalist movement is losing control here. Yeah, I will dig into that a little bit more. Here we go with James O'Keefe says, huge new Project Veritas video coming out tonight. Topic is Beto and the Caravan. So I didn't see that come out yet. And so maybe we'll go search for it a little bit later here in the show. But bottom line is that Beto is still down. I got hit with an advertisement from him on Twitter tonight, where he's saying, please donate. He's still asking for money, and he's got more money, far more money than what Cruz had. So really interesting to see, and I can't wait till James O'Keefe unloaded on the Florida Democratic candidate. So I'll show you that in a second as well. Battle for the House. Here's some updates. So these are the latest polls. You know, they don't really poll very often in the House because there's so many races. You can just see all the races here, right? And this is the likely GOP and the likely Democrats, and the fact that we have a huge majority of Republicans now as we rebelled against Obama. But now that you have the energy of the Democrats, they're predicting to win 5 seats right now if the election was held today, supposedly. I think those polls are wrong, but that just shows that we have to get out everywhere. And so you can see right here that there's 37 toss-ups, so this could sway heavily either way. And even I think we'll get some of these 15 right here. I really believe that there's going to be a huge tsunami to grab this, but we have to get out and vote, right? Interesting on the House. And there's way too many races to really think through all that. But the Senate is really amazingly turning red. Trump was in Missouri right here. And this Missouri one you can see is really close between Clara McCaskill and Josh Hallway. You'll see there's a +2 right now. But Trump is there now, so the momentum usually moves. So that is up for grabs for sure in Missouri. That would be a big win. Montana, a big event happened. They put on a legal. The Democrats actually paid for. The Democrat tester paid the person that's running. I think this was in Montana. It's the Libertarian that's running. Think of that. Well, I'll have to look to see if that was the state. But the bottom line is that the Libertarian dropped out and supported the Republican. So good news happening all over the place. I think in Arizona we got great momentum now in the Senate. So again, Charlie Shamp saying we're going to end up with 60 seats, 9 new ones. 9 will be the sign. Now that would be huge. Nobody's predicting that. Some people saying maybe 3 or 4, right? But we're looking better in the Senate. We'd be praying for the House for sure. Here's some more information that's coming on Twitter tonight. Beto staffers, Caravan campaign funds illegally 9 p.m. Eastern time. So right. James O'Keefe is supposed to be releasing some stuff here shortly. In fact, if you go to YouTube and probably look at that, we'll probably find it. Here's the Gateway Pundit. And it's rendering again. I'll go to the next one real quick to make sure it renders for us faster. Here it is. Montana Libertarian candidate. It was Montana. Drops from race. Supporters Matt Rosendale over liar John Tester. So John Tester, it'd be awesome to get him out of there. Nobody ever thought he would ever be at risk, even though it's a red state Democrat. He had a heavy lead. But now the Montana Senate guy. So if we go over to the Senate, you come over here and look at Montana, and you can see that this guy, now that we have, even though he went from 2, 3, up to 9 in some of these polls and up 4, Tester's always been up. Now with a Libertarian coming out after this honest advertising campaign where the Democrats paid for ads targeting Republican voters for the Libertarian. So he dropped out and supported the Republican candidate, which is just an awesome move here. And now here's a very dirty but brilliant tactic the Democrats are doing in my area. I think this Anon did not say, but I'm pretty sure this is what we're talking about. So myself and people I know have been receiving flyers in the mail that are making our state's Libertarian candidate look good over the Republican candidate. The thing is, these flyers are paid for by the Democratic Party. It says so in the fine print. Their intentions are obvious, to divide the Republican vote because they know their Democratic candidate isn't going to win. just a heads up, if you guys, to look out for the tactic to divide us at the voting booth, right? So it's going to be, wow. These next 5 days, guys, are going to be critical. Let's all get on board on in prayer and just support here. Here's Gilliam. This is funny. So this guy's now been fired after James O'Keefe from Project Veritas caught him. It's just a 15-minute video, worth the watch if you have the time. I've watched the entire thing. And there's a little piece of this that Sean Hannity's been playing on. But this guy's talking about Florida being a cracker state. And he's talking about how all that matters is fairy tales in the modern day begin with once I am elected. So he's basically saying it's okay for, just like all the other Democrats, to acting like they're moderate when they're not. When they're going to be trying to take the guns away. They're going to be completely open border. They're going to be fighting President Trump and voting in lockstep with the resistors, right? And he's even saying that this Democratic candidate is literally all the way. He's one of the crazies as far as going all the way to the left, right? He's one of the most extreme persons. So that whole centrist position he's been taking to try to win the governorship is going to fall, I think. He was leading in the polls before this happened. It'll be real interesting to see what happens if we can get DeSantis in there. Here we have Twitter. This person says Marsha Blackburn wanted to run an ad showing the disgraceful actions of the mob interpreting a movement of silence for the at Pittsburgh synagogue victims. So she literally asked for a moment of silence for the Pittsburgh synagogue deaths, those people that died. And right when she was doing that, then the leftists start protesting loud and long. Just so disgraceful. But what's even worse is that we have Silicon Valley criminals, Google, saying no. So here's the ad that you couldn't see because at least from Google's perspective. I'm not sure what she was talking about, but where she was trying to run the ad. It was probably on YouTube. That's what I'm saying. That's why I have sponsors, guys, because I can now have Patriot-type sponsors versus them playing Planned Parenthoods for my videos or not playing ads that they're censoring. So we're having to fight the media, and we're having to fight Silicon Valley. We're having to fight Hollywood. The only way we're going to get rid of these criminals